Today, April 7th, 2025, the world woke up to a financial nightmare. Stock markets crashing globally, dubbed the Black Monday Bloodbath. The trigger, President Donald Trump's sweeping reciprocal tariffs. As the Dow drops over 4%, the S&P 4.6%, and Nasdaq, a staggering 5.3% panic is setting in. But what's the endgame here? How will this reshape American politics, the US economy, and the world? And where do figures like Elon Musk fit into this chaos? We're diving deep into the mess. Let's set the scene. On April 2nd, 2025, Trump declared Liberation Day, unveiling a tariff plan that slapped a 10% baseline duty on nearly all US imports, with higher rates, up to 50%, on countries like China, Vietnam, and the EU. His logic? Reciprocity, balancing trade deficits by punishing nations he claims exploit the US economy.
I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix it.
Fast forward to today, April 7th, and the fallout is brutal. US stock futures tanked Sunday night, and by Monday morning, Wall Street was hemorrhaging. Tech stocks like Apple and Nvidia led the plunge, while Bitcoin dropped 5%. China fired back with a 34% tariff on US goods. The EU and Canada are plotting retaliation, and investors are running for the hills, piling into bonds and gold. This isn't just a US problem, it's global. Asia's markets are down, Europe's jittery, and recession fears are spiking. Experts are calling this a self-inflicted wound. JP Morgan now pegs US recession odds at 60%, up from 40% pre-tariffs. Why? These tariffs could shave 1 to 1.5% off US GDP this year alone, disrupt supply chains, and jack up prices for consumers already stretched thin. So what's Trump thinking? He's doubled down, shrugging off the market crash with, "The markets are gonna boom eventually." His team, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, insists this is a long game to force fairer trade deals and boost American manufacturing. Trump's even invoked a national economic emergency to bypass Congress, a move critics call an abuse of power.
Like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and
But here's the kicker. Trump inherited a solid economy, low unemployment, steady growth. Now 8 weeks into his second term, he's risking it all on a protectionist bet that echoes the 1930s Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which deepened the Great Depression. Back then, global trade collapsed. Is history repeating? Trump's playing at a high-stakes poker game. If he wins, he could force countries to lower their tariffs, maybe spark a US industrial renaissance. If he loses, a trade war that tanks the US economy and drags the world down with it. Goldman Sachs says recession odds are now 35%, but others, like Larry Summers, warn it's closer to 50/50ths. Enter Elon Musk, Trump's billionaire buddy and head of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Musk been slashing federal spending, pushing for deregulation and cheerleading these tariffs. But he's not unscathed. Tesla's stock crashed 15% this week amid falling sales and public backlash over his White House role, wiping $11 billion off his wealth. Musk's take? He's admitted Trump's plans could cause temporary hardship before a healthier economy emerges. On Saturday, He pitched a zero-tariff US-Europe trade zone to Italy's deputy PM, contradicting Trump's strategy. Is Musk a loyal soldier or a wild card? Musk's a paradox. He's tied to Trump's vision but exposed to its fallout. Tesla relies on global supply chains. These tariffs disrupt. His Doge cuts might save billions. But if a recession hits, his tech empire could take a bigger hit than most. And that zero tariff idea? It's either genius or a sign he's hedging his bets. This isn't just America's mess. China's 34% retaliatory tariffs hit US farmers and manufacturers hard. The EU's prepping countermeasures. Italian wine exporters are already sweating a 20% US duty. Canada and Mexico dodged the worst, but still face 25% tariffs from earlier threats. Emerging markets like Vietnam, slapped with 46%, are bracing for chaos. Globally, stocks are reeling. Hong Kong's Hang Seng dropped 1.9%. Europe's Stoxx X fell 1.3%. Investors are betting on Federal Reserve rate cuts by May. But Fed Chair Jerome Powell's holding firm? No emergency moves yet. The fear? A synchronized global slowdown. Trump's tariffs could spark a domino effect. Higher costs, slower trade, and retaliatory measures might push not just the US, but Europe and Asia into recession. Developing nations reliant on US markets, like Vietnam or Mexico, could see growth evaporate. It's a global game of chicken, and no one's blinking. Back home, this is a political earthquake. Trump's base loves the America First vibe, but even some Republicans, like Mike Pence calling it a tax hike, are uneasy. Democrats are slamming it as reckless, with Chuck Schumer noting Russia's mysterious tariff exemption. Business leaders, from Delta Airlines slashing forecasts to tech CEOs like Zuckerberg losing $17.9 billion, are spooked.
The president's imposition of tariffs against Canada that will be a costly tax increase on American families. If the president has concerns about trade issues with Canada, guess what? This president negotiated a signature trade deal, the USMCA, that got 89 bipartisan votes in this chamber, and he has a negotiating process to find a resolution to any issue he cares about. The imposition of tariffs does nothing more than put a tax on American families.
The endgame? If Trump sticks to his guns, he might force trade concessions, or crash the economy and lose Congress in 2026. If he backs off, he risks looking weak. Either way, voters who backed him to fix prices, not raise them, might turn. Trump's boxed himself in. His golden age promise is fading as 401k's shrink and grocery bills climb. Musk's cuts and tariff chaos could fracture GOP unity if recession hits. The wild card? Legal challenges. UBS predicts lawsuits over Trump's emergency powers could force a rollback. So, what's next? Black Monday's just the start. Trump's tariffs could rewrite global trade or plunge us into a 1930s-style disaster. Musk's influence might steady the ship or sink it faster. For the US, it's a test of resilience. For the world, it's a warning shot. What do you think? Genius move or economic suicide? Drop your thoughts below. Signing off. Stay sharp out there.